The tension was palpable as the heavy doors to the federal courthouse swung open, signaling the start of a legal battle that would grip the nation for hours. For 8 intense hours, the world watched as a high-profile courtroom drama unfolded, one that would ultimately decide the fate of one of hip-hop's most influential figures. The air was thick with anticipation, as reporters jostled for position and spectators whispered about what might happen next. It was a day that would be etched into the memory of everyone present, a day when the world paused to witness justice in action. At the heart of this legal storm stood Sean "Diddy" Combs, a man whose name has become synonymous with both musical innovation and business acumen. Today, however, he wasn't the mogul on stage or the entrepreneur in the boardroom. He was a defendant, facing the full weight of the American justice system. The gravity of the moment was not lost on anyone. Diddy, usually surrounded by the trappings of fame and fortune, now stood vulnerable, his future hanging in the balance as the eyes of the world bore down on him. For more than 3 decades, Diddy has been a towering presence in the entertainment industry. From his early days as a producer shaping the sound of a generation, to his chart-topping hits and his ventures into fashion, spirits, and media, he's built an empire that few can rival. His influence stretches far beyond music. He's a cultural icon, a trendsetter, and a symbol of success for millions. Diddy's journey from the streets of Harlem to the heights of global stardom is the stuff of legend, inspiring countless young artists and entrepreneurs to chase their dreams. His business ventures have redefined what it means to be a hip-hop mogul, and his philanthropic efforts have touched communities across the country. But this week, the spotlight shifted. The headlines that once celebrated his achievements now blared with news of his legal troubles. The world's attention was fixed not on a concert stage, but on a federal courtroom in New York City, where the stakes were higher than ever before. The city that had once cheered his rise now watched in suspense as his fate was debated in a room filled with tension, uncertainty, and the relentless pursuit of justice. The story began months earlier, back in July, when Combs was convicted on 2 serious counts under the Mann Act, a century-old law originally designed to combat human trafficking and exploitation. The charges sent shockwaves through the entertainment world, raising questions about power, accountability, and justice. The trial itself became a media spectacle, with every development dissected by pundits and fans alike. The public was left to grapple with the uncomfortable reality that even the most celebrated figures are not above the law. The Mann Act, passed in 1910, makes it a federal crime to transport individuals across state lines for the purpose of prostitution or other immoral acts. Over the years, it's been used in a variety of high-profile cases, but rarely has it ensnared someone of Diddy's stature. The law's broad language and controversial history added another layer of complexity to an already sensational case. Legal scholars debated its application, with some arguing that it was outdated, while others insisted it remained a vital tool for protecting vulnerable individuals. The courtroom became a battleground not just for Diddy's fate, but for the interpretation of a law that has shaped American legal history for over a century. The charges centered on 2 of Combs' former partners, including singer and model Cassie Ventura. Both women took the stand, their testimony painting a picture of a relationship marked by control, manipulation, and ultimately, violence. The courtroom was silent as they recounted their experiences, their voices steady but emotional. Their stories were harrowing, filled with details that shocked even the most seasoned observers. The courage it took to testify against such a powerful figure was not lost on anyone, and their words hung in the air long after they left the witness stand. Friday's hearing was a marathon of emotion and legal maneuvering. Witnesses testified, lawyers argued, and the audience, packed with reporters, supporters, and critics, reacted to every revelation. Tears were shed, tempers flared, and the judge was forced to call for order more than once as the drama reached its peak. The atmosphere was electric, with every word and gesture scrutinized by those desperate to understand the truth. The emotional toll on everyone involved was evident, as the weight of the allegations and the intensity of the proceedings bore down on all present. One of the most damning pieces of evidence was hotel surveillance footage, which prosecutors argued showed an assault on Ventura. The grainy video, played for the jury and the world, became a focal point of the trial, sparking heated debate about what it truly revealed. Legal analysts pored over every frame, debating whether the footage was as conclusive as the prosecution claimed. For many, it was a chilling reminder of the power of technology to capture moments that might otherwise have remained hidden, and it became a symbol of the case's complexity. Prosecutors were relentless, painting a picture of a man who used his power and influence to manipulate and harm those closest to him. They argued that this was not an isolated incident, but part of a disturbing pattern of abuse that spanned years. Their recommendation was clear. Diddy should serve 11 years in federal prison, both as punishment and as a warning to others. The prosecution's case was built on a foundation of witness testimony, physical evidence, and a narrative that sought to hold a powerful man accountable for his actions. They spoke passionately about the need for justice, not just for the victims, but for society as a whole. The defense, however, pushed back hard. They insisted that the relationships in question were consensual, and that the prosecution was twisting facts to fit a narrative. They called character witnesses, presented evidence of Diddy's charitable work, and argued that a lengthy sentence would be a grave injustice. Their request? Just 14 months behind bars. The defense team worked tirelessly to humanize Diddy, highlighting his philanthropic efforts, his role as a father, and his positive impact on countless lives. They argued that the prosecution's portrayal was one-sided, and that the truth was far more nuanced than the headlines suggested. Caught between these two extremes, probation officials weighed in with their own recommendation, a sentence of 5 to 7 years. Their report cited the seriousness of the charges, but also noted Diddy's lack of prior convictions and his contributions to the community. The probation report became a key point of discussion, as both sides sought to use it to bolster their arguments. It was a rare moment of balance in a case defined by extremes, and it underscored the difficulty of delivering justice in such a high-profile, emotionally charged situation. After hours of deliberation, Judge R. N. Subramanian delivered his verdict. The courtroom fell silent as he read the sentence, a little over 4 years in federal prison. The decision was met with a mix of relief, disappointment, and disbelief, as both sides tried to process what it meant for Diddy's future. The judge's words were measured, acknowledging the gravity of the offenses while also considering the mitigating factors presented by the defense. For Diddy, it was a moment of reckoning, a turning point that would shape the rest of his life. Outside the courthouse, the reaction was immediate and intense. Social media exploded with commentary from fans, celebrities, and legal experts. Some expressed shock at the length of the sentence, while others felt it was too lenient. Many wondered aloud what this would mean for Diddy's legacy, his businesses, and the broader music industry. The debate raged on talk shows, podcasts, and news outlets, with everyone from legal analysts to fellow artists weighing in. The case became a cultural flashpoint, sparking conversations about celebrity, accountability, and the power of the justice system to hold even the most influential figures to account. Even as he prepares to serve his time, Diddy's legal troubles are far from over. He faces more than 50 civil lawsuits, many stemming from similar allegations of abuse and misconduct. Each case threatens to further tarnish his reputation and drain his resources. The sheer volume of litigation is staggering, and legal experts predict that the battles ahead could drag on for years. For Diddy, the prospect of ongoing court appearances, depositions, and public scrutiny is daunting, and the financial and emotional toll is likely to be immense. The legal battles ahead promise to be just as contentious and high-profile as the criminal trial. Lawyers on both sides are gearing up for a long fight, and the outcome of these cases could have far-reaching implications, not just for Diddy, but for the entire entertainment industry. The lawsuits raise difficult questions about the culture of silence that has long protected powerful figures, and about the responsibility of companies and collaborators to address allegations of misconduct. The ripple effects could be felt in boardrooms, studios, and concert halls across the country. The broader impact of Diddy's conviction is already being felt. Legal analysts are debating whether this case will set a new precedent for how the justice system handles allegations against celebrities. Music industry insiders are holding emergency meetings to discuss how to protect their brands and artists in an era of heightened scrutiny. Outside the courthouse, protesters and supporters alike have gathered, their signs and chants reflecting the deep divisions in public opinion. The case has become a lightning rod for debates about race, power, and justice in America. As the dust settles in the courtroom, one question lingers. Is this truly the end of Diddy's story, or just the beginning of a new, even more complicated chapter? The silence in the courtroom after the verdict was almost deafening, as everyone tried to make sense of what had just transpired. For Diddy, the road ahead is uncertain, filled with challenges and the possibility of redemption, or further downfall. Will he appeal? Legal experts say an appeal is almost certain, given the high stakes and the complex legal issues at play. Diddy's legal team has already signaled their intent to challenge the conviction, arguing that key evidence was misinterpreted and that the sentence is excessive. The appeals process could take months, or even years, and the outcome is far from guaranteed. In the meantime, Diddy's supporters are rallying behind him, while his critics demand accountability and justice. What's next for his career? The music world is watching closely. Some industry insiders believe Diddy's brand is resilient enough to weather the storm, while others predict lasting damage. His business ventures, partnerships, and even his music catalog could all be affected by the outcome of his legal battles. Record labels and sponsors are reportedly reconsidering their relationships, and some radio stations have already pulled his music from their playlists. The uncertainty has cast a shadow over the industry, as artists and executives alike wonder who might be next. One thing is certain, the story of Sean Diddy Combs is far from over. As new details emerge and the legal process continues, the world will be watching every twist and turn. The outcome of his appeal, the resolution of the civil lawsuits, and the response of the music industry will all shape the next chapter of his life. Stay tuned, because this story is still unfolding and its impact will be felt for years to come.